Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm sharing one of our favorite soup recipes. It's cauliflower chowder. I'll leave a link to the printable version of this recipe down in the description, but this is one of those recipes that can just be thrown together with whatever you have on hand. Obviously, you want to start with that cauliflower as your base, but as far as extra vegetables that you want to add into this chowder, you really can use whatever you want. I've got a couple of small onions here, and I'm dicing up a handful of carrots and a few celery stalks. When I'm chopping vegetables for soup, I like to get the pieces small enough that they're going to be easily scooped up with a spoon. To add a little more depth of flavor in this chowder, I like to dice up the carrots, celery, and onions first and get them sauteing in the pan before I add the chopped cauliflower. I'm going to cook these down on this medium-low heat setting until the onions get a little translucent and all of the vegetables get kind of soft. I washed this cauliflower before I started cutting into it, and this is just a couple of ways that you can cut that core out of the center of the cauliflower. I like to slice the cauliflower and add it just before I put the chicken broth into the pot. I really want this cauliflower just to sweat out a little bit. I don't want it to get brown. We can go with a traditional topping for soup like oyster crackers or tortilla strips, which both of those are amazing. But when I have time, I like to top it with some bacon bits and fried onions. My preferred method of cooking bacon is in the oven, and I always line my pan with 3 layers of parchment paper. And I know this sounds really wasteful, but honestly, it is worth it to me for the easy cleanup. I've determined that 3 layers is what I need to keep that grease from soaking through or running into the pan. Once the cauliflower gets soft in this broth, I like to chop it up. This is just one of those mix and chops. I got this from Pampered Chef, but I know that they are available all over the place now. And I'll even go through and press some of the bigger pieces of cauliflower into the side of the Dutch oven because I want it to break down into really small pieces and start thickening the chowder. Once the vegetables are really soft and the chowder is starting to come together, I bank the heat down to a very low simmer and add the heavy cream. If you add the heavy cream when you still have a bubbling simmer or a heavy boil, chances are good that the cream will curdle and separate. And while that's fine to eat, it's not going to harm you in any way, it's not going to look very appealing to have cream separated in your soup. At this point, I added some salt and pepper just to taste. Now the soup is pretty much done, and I'm gonna just let it mellow there on the burner on low heat just to let all of those flavors marry in the pot while I slice up and fry these onions. I like using red onions to fry. They seem to stand up well to the frying, and who doesn't love a little extra color, right? I'm slicing this onion as thin as I can, and then I'm just breaking up the sections to separate all of the pieces as much as possible, and I gave it a little sprinkling of flour here. Here I'm testing that coconut oil to make sure that it's going to sizzle as soon as I add those onions. keep an eye on these though because they will burn quickly. Give them an occasional stir, flip them around, just to get as much of the surface of these onions fried. Even with this very small onion, I ended up frying these slices in 3 batches. Now, obviously, if you were working with a larger pan, you'll be able to do a lot more at once. So there was a special request for some strawberry smoothies, so I threw that together really quick to serve with this soup. And there's always bread. Ideally, you would want to let your loaf of bread cool completely before you cut it open. That's going to help it stay fresher and softer for longer. We eat fresh bread straight out of the oven quite often, and I just turned that cut side down on my island here just to keep some of that steam trapped in the crust. I don't know if it works or not, but theoretically, it seems like it would keep the steam in the rest of the loaf and keep it from drying out. I make this cauliflower chowder all the time, and I've even taken it to events as a dish to pass, and everyone who tries it always wants my recipe, and it is so simple, but it's so good. I really love sharing easy, delicious recipes, and I really appreciate you spending time with me today in my kitchen. I look forward to seeing you again soon.